Hello and welcome back to myself playing Disco Elysium. We're in the process of solving one murder and we've come across another dead body which we're currently further investigating. Our next step is to look at his folded library card and see what we can learn.
The library card is folded into two and still slightly wet to the touch. The front side reads, Central Jamrock Public Library Card, issued to Billy Mejean, expires July 53. Billy is a unisex name. Could be the deceased or his family member.
Look inside.
Whoever owns this card is an avid reader. You find a list of books written in blue pencil. Radio thriller. Stand a little less between me and the sun. The last one in the list is The Glinton Curve by M. Theobald. A library stamp indicates that the book has been returned. Most of these titles seem to be in the sci-fi genre. Some thrillers too.
Look at the backside.
If lost, please return the card to the library. Dial 005 02 55211 or visit us at Moreau Street, 78, Jamrock. Business hours, 900 to 1800.
Good. We should give them a call from my key. See if we can learn anything about Billy Mejean.
Good idea. There was plenty of information here to go by.
Put it away. Coin operated viewer that has been out of order for years. Anything else around here? Moonshine, probably. Smells like the fermentation. Tasty fermentation. Okay, I don't think there's anything else down here. Come on, we can do it.
The remaining windows rattle from a strong gust of wind. They're covered in a thick layer of grime. They must have been like this for 40 years.
Try to see inside.
Dripping water falls from a high place. All you can see is the shadow of a collapsing staircase. There's rust and corrosion on the bars. They're foaming with it. And a small layer of white salt from the sea.
Lieutenant, can you make out what's inside? Point at the windows.
No, I won't even try. You know...
He takes his glasses off.
I had a partner once. They called him Eyes, because he had to show me things. It's that bad.
Can you still shoot though?
Well enough, actually. It's odd how that works. I'm no sharpshooter, but I pass my shooting courses 7 out of 10.
Oh, sorry about that. I just had a weird noise downstairs to investigate. I think it was just my cat had met another neighbour's pet. They didn't get on.
And Mikhail noticed the windows, especially with how there are no windows on the south side. This was to deal with.
A blond man stands next to his son, pointing to the weather-worn ruins. He sees you approaching and smiles.
You officers, come to investigate the historic subtext of West Martinez? I'm Han Heilostam. You must be Kim Kitsuragi, right? I was just telling my son about this building. Not a lot of people realize the historic significance here. Very rich in hypertext.
Nice to meet you.
The lieutenant nods. Hold on. Hypertext?
Yes, hypertext. Young Carp and the collection of cultural hyperlinks.
He says as if self-evident. Wait, what was that about the window before?
Oh yes, so Mikhail. They had to deal with monitor glare, especially in the summer. They still had vector monitors back then. That was 49 years ago. So they didn't have windows on the south wall.
You and Kim know each other?
No, I can't say that we've met before, but I've heard of Kim, of course. Mikhail, say hi to the officers.
He rests his hand on the boy's shoulder. The child stays hidden behind the hem of his father's coat, clutching to the worm-themed colouring book.
Mikhail's a little tired today. We spent all night trying to run Orbis on his radio computer. Have you heard of it? It's a programming language used in Grad. Quite tricky, but he wanted to play this Grad-made adventure program. We've been getting really into Worms lately.
The man speaks in the artificial cadence of a professor, or someone who's been on too many radio shows.
But I assume you're not here for giant worms when there are so many real things to see. Just as I was telling Mikhail before, this is where the Coalition landed in '08. We could be standing on what is the most interesting landmark in Revachol West.
He points to the building again.
This man is your half-brother. You feel it. But why? Well, get a load of this guy. He really enjoys his trivia. The Orbis programming language was named after its inventor, Victor Orbis, a cybernetician from Grad. They run Vox in the Occidental countries.
What's so fascinating about an empty old building?
Aha! But it's not just any empty old building.
He raises his hand to shield his eyes. Hand to his eyes to shield himself from freezing snow. All four of you turn to admire the mural before you.
What not a lot of people know is this used to be the R&D department of Felt Electrical. And Felt, which now sells ink cartridges mostly, was once a top dog in the turn-of-the-century cybernetics boom.
Look at the building looming over you.
It looks old and weathered, with seagulls picking apart its stone and metal carcass. Bushy undergrowth has taken hold of the collapsed rooftop. Some kind of bird has set up a nest on a broken windowsill.
I don't think I've ever heard of the Felt Electrical.
That's not surprising. Only a vestigial ink cartridge and ferrotape manufacturer remains.
He adjusts his suit jacket.
They started out as a midway electronics outfit in Königstein 2 centuries ago. After an aggressive move to Revachol, Feld became a global player in the emerging personal electronics market of the pre-revolutionary era. Still, Tricentennial was beating them in business machines. But Feld had an ace up their sleeve. Or should I say, they were developing an ace up their sleeve? I'm mixing my metaphors here.
He grins. What was that ace?
It was here in Martinez, possibly in this very building, that they developed prototypes for a tape computer.
He pauses for effect. A tape computer?
An elegant folding mechanism of rollers and ferrotape ribbons, portable enough to be a take-it-home solution, revolutionizing business machines, possibly even bringing them to the average consumer, which is a feat of engineering even today's giants, Rehm, ICN, and ZAM, haven't achieved yet.
He grins, admiring the sentence he just produced.
He assumes something like a combat stance, facing the wind.
What happened?
Indeed. What?
The revolution!
The boy wipes his nose on his sleeve.
Unfortunately, their moonshot project never made it to the market. Feld's move to Revachol backfired. The revolutionary government liquefied their assets and expropriated those very advanced prototypes, possibly from this very building, or one of the adjacent ruins.
He pauses, pointing to the other buildings, then continues.
All of this was built by Feld, even the boardwalk. Wild Pines built Martinez proper as a resort for their middle management. Feld built this side of town for R&D.
You're saying that Felt Electrical built this boardwalk? Look under your feet.
Yes, they even built a pleasure wheel, but that got destroyed in the war.
A pleasure wheel?
The lieutenant looks wistfully at the horizon, as if picturing gondolas rising to the sky.
Yes, to lure in their star engineers. This part of Martinez was nothing but reeds before Feld arrived. They had to make the prospect of living here attractive. It was supposed to become a global center for innovation in cybernetics. But history had other plans.
What happened to the engineers, the company people?
Oh, I'm afraid it didn't end well for the boys. But this story is a bit too dark for little Mikhail here. Now, if you were to ask about tape computers,
He smiles again, as if somehow personally responsible for this bleak turn of events. What did the revolutionaries do with those advanced tape computers?
they used them for military communications, but also to write and send out press releases. The most notorious example being Le Decret de Mars.
He says, while his son looks up idly chewed in the corner of his worm-themed colouring book. What was that?
What's the Mars Decree? I mean the radio transmission sent out to news agencies and world governments by the newly created Commune of Revachol on the 7th of March in the year 02.
A short-lived legislative foundation for a short-lived utopia.
It's a beautiful piece of text, actually. A singer-songwriter I know, Charette, called it a love poem to Revachol on her political concept album, Bon Baiser dans ce Lind. You should read it. Every local library in Revachol stocks a copy of the decree. I tried to get Mikhail to memorize it. Tried to. Someone was much too interested in worms to be paying any attention.
He looks at his son, who starts giggling, his face hidden behind the book.
The kid takes a peek at the green and silver worm on the cover of the book, already forgetting about this part of the discussion.
How did those tape computers work? Did they work like radio computers?
Actually, no one knows. No one even knows what a computer made entirely of tape would look like. But word has it, they were very elegant, exquisite, alien-looking turn-of-the-century hardware.
He raises his finger, remembering something.
Buckle up.
10 years ago, I did a little freelancing, I guess you could say. I was a special consultant for an exhibition at the Womty Dumpty Dum Center in Vredefort, Oranje. It raised the same questions, and we had lengthy discussions with Paul Ockerman, who was head curator at the time. This was before the twins Keith and Guy Juice joined the team, trying to...
Oh, Humpty Dumpty Dum, Humpty Dumpty Dum.
Wait, did he just say Wumpty Dumpty Dum Center?
He did indeed.
He did it. He said Wumpty Dumpty Dum Center, like it's the most natural thing in the world. What the hell is a Wumpty Dumpty Dum Center? And who the hell are Keith and Guy Juiced?
Okay, the Humpty Dumpty Centre. Paul Ockerman, Keith and Guy Juice. What are you talking about?
The Womty Dumpty Dum Center for Contemporary Arts. The exhibition itself drew on Lagerman's notion of memory, and so there were some parallels. That's why the head curator, Paul Ockerman, chose to...
You're making this up. Turn to Lieutenant Kim. Is he making this up?
In fact, I'm not. The Womty Dumpty Dum Center is a place you can visit if you're ever in Vredefort and are ever in the market for an exhibition space / contemporary art research center. But perhaps I should return to the tape computers. As I was saying, the device itself was very elegant, fragile even. One could write directly on the tape using a special chemical solution. The machine would then analyze the handwriting, perform operations, and project output onto a white screen. It was a beautiful, delicate thing.
Made of black film and folding tape structures.
Nod. Cool.
Very, very cool. Though I understand the socio-economic causes of the revolution, it pains me to imagine the revolutionaries setting fire to this precious device. But so they did. The felt playback experiment vanished into the fires of 07.
Wait, the felt playback experiment?
Yes, the official name of the prototype. Some sources report it as the felt playback experience, but those are incorrect.
Why did the revolutionaries destroy it?
Who knows? Maybe it was an accident, or maybe they didn't want the technology to end up in the wrong hands. Either way, they're all gone now. All 3 versions of the prototype. Nothing but debris and ashes remain inside that building.
He takes a step back. The boardwalk creaks mournfully in the wind. I wanted to ask you something else.
But of course, what else?
Well, let's see where this rabbit hole goes. You look like someone who has money. Do you have any money?
I do have some money, yes, but that's not what's really important here.
He brushes it off like it's not a thing. Could I have some of that unimportant money then?
Oh, no, I don't have it on me, officer. I was talking in more general terms.
He looks uncomfortable, his left hand squeezing his son's
I'm just
shoulder.
spending time with my kid here, showing him around the lesser-known parts of our hometown. It wouldn't be wise to carry huge amounts of cash on such expeditions.
Not that he would have to worry about being robbed. He looks surprisingly buff. Does he work out?
By the way, do you work out?
I do some Lomantang stick fighting now and then.
Lo Mantang stick fighting is a form of martial arts originating from the island of Lo Mantang. It uses slender wooden sticks for confronting the opponent.
A form of martial arts from the Isle of Lo Mantang, right?
Actually, a great many cultures have their own version of stick fighting, such as the sacred Mabolo tradition of the Harli people. The name deriving from the butterfruit tree traditionally used for crafting the long, slender sticks, whereas the sticks used in other cultures.
He does off as he paints you a comprehensive picture of the history of stick fighting among mankind, seasoning it with unexpected pop culture references.
But anyway, I'm boring you with details again. You were saying?
I don't really remember what I was saying.
Then I guess everything got said, right?
I'm going to be quick on this one, so don't want to hear about the
Sure.
building again.
What's on your mind? But
Yeah.
of course, what else?
Great, thank you for all the information, all the interesting
No,
information.
thanks to you for having me and little Mikhail here to pick your brain. A very interesting conversation indeed.
You see a once bright mural towering above you. The signage has peeled off over the years, but you can still make out Feld Electrical R&D. A slogan used to intertwine with the loops a long time ago. Now, only a shadow of peeled letters remains. It says, tomorrow is just a whisper away.
Tomorrow is just a whisper
Looks like
away.
tomorrow never came.
The lieutenant raises the collar of his bomber jacket. Turn away. Okay, we got a skill point, which at this point I'm using more for unlocking these. Yeah. Humpty Dumpty Dum Center. What's it down to be learned? Some money. Another power box that's charging now. Charging up now, it's empty. More money. No sprays. Fence blocks the path. No. No boat in the boathouse today. This section of coast hasn't been used in decades. Some new glasses. Not really helpful. Boathouse is shoddily constructed. A strong breeze might blow it over. The sign says Entre Interdirect. Let's see if you can walk around to it. Show me what I'm missing. Thank you. Money. Money. A box. Oh, it's a hat. What's my current hat give me? Action speed and rhetoric minus. That's maybe better off. No, I don't need more logic. The door's not only barred shut, it's inaccessible. Oh, what's that? Bottle. It's not a bottle, it's actually a hole. No, take a booth no longer in operation. Nothing there. Let's go back. Okay. I think I know who they are. I don't know if I want to get straight into a conversation with them right now. The boy Bob's and the water numbers on it says 11. The soggy log smells of ignition fluid, still they won't light up. The heavy military blockade is riddled with bullet holes and crumbling. It's impossible to get a fire going this near to the ocean.
Here we go. Nice and easy. No way out, little guys. Not out of this jam.
There's a cylinder on the ground in which the man is arranging some netting. It looks like some kind of trap. He notices you.
Who's there? Oh, the police. Hello, officers.
His self-conscious enthusiasm renders his movements ungainly. He looks like your understanding of a scientist.
Is that the police? Why are the police here?
Gary, the crypto-fascist.
Don't worry, Gary. I'll handle it.
You must be Morel, the cryptozoologist.
To what do I owe the pleasure?
Lena sent me. She's been really worried about you. Is waiting for you to get back.
Of course. Thank you for passing along the message. That damn water lock is broken, and we can't go all the way around the AL-81.
Yeah, that was me. I broke the water lock with my motor, but it's fixed now. You can go back.
You broke the water lock with a motor carriage. There was a billboard in the canal, not a vehicle. It said Samaran Butter.
Now, you see, I jumped over the canal in my motor carriage, tearing through the Samarian butter sign which fell into the canal, blocking the gates. I used the pawn shop as a launch ramp.
Why?
Next time, it was an experiment to gauge the Caprice for his aerial performance. I'm something of a gentleman scientist.
Scientist. Yes, okay. But you said the water lock is fixed now, so we can go back.
Did he say we can go back now?
Yes, Gary. We can go soon. If you see Lena, tell her I won't be long.
Sir, your wife is waiting for you.
Just have to do one more round. See if the phasmid has taken the bait. Then we go in.
He refastens a bit of netting that has come loose in the wind.
His hands are large and weather-worn, but also used to delicate, precise work.
Tell me about this phasmid you're looking for.
Well, first of all, it's damn difficult to find, which is why we've been knee-deep in the reeds laying traps for it.
What makes it so difficult to find?
Good question. Being a phasmid of the order Phantasmodea, a ghost insect, it disguises itself as plant matter. In this case, the reeds. Awful lot of reeds around, aren't there? And I suspect it may have also developed other specialised techniques to protect itself from predators, or scientists in our present case.
What sort of specialised techniques is the phasmid using to hide itself?
It's my hypothesis that it has evolved certain electrochemical defences that allow it to interfere with animal perception, impeding pattern recognition, confusing the visual cortex. But I cannot describe how these defences work, much less how they evolved, without studying a live specimen.
How big is the phasmid?
I'm expecting it to be quite giant. One known species of phasmid, called the Megaphasmodea zoensis, is about the size of a grown man's forearm. So,
It leaves the conclusion up to you. Why are you so interested in this stick bug? Aren't there more sensational animals out there?
typical rookie assumption. Insects are much more sophisticated creatures than those unversed in zoology give them credit for. Even simply catching a glimpse of the Insulindian phasmid would be the apex of of any cryptozoologist's career. But to study it and its defences, find out how it stayed hidden so long.
He shakes his head. What have you discovered so far?
Very little, I'm sorry to say. No one's ever captured a specimen, so all our information is based on first and third-hand accounts.
So no one's ever found one?
Not yet. That's what makes it a cryptid.
He holds up an index finger.
Just out of curiosity, if there's no proof of its existence, how do you know it's real?
I know it's real.
The cryptozoologist says brusquely, enough that even he seems taken back by it.
By which I mean, I've heard enough first-hand accounts to believe quite firmly that the Insulindian phasmid is more than mere superstition.
Lena said there has been a sighting of it here in Martinez.
Yes, the most recent sighting was by a couple of teenagers along the coast here. That's what brought us to Martinez specifically. It's the first credible sighting in several decades. Admittedly, it's an unusual location for this species, but with all the sewage runoff upstream, it probably doesn't matter much anymore.
Maybe the Insulinian phasmid has died out.
I have to resist the thought. Such an extraordinary creature is doubtlessly highly resilient. After all, it's generally thought to be capable of parthenogenesis.
He means asexual reproduction. The females of the species don't need to mate to produce viable eggs. This makes it easier for a species with a small population to survive.
That's pretty clever.
Yes, the Insulindian phasmid is a very clever insect. That's why it's so damn difficult to catch. But as a scientist, I'll try my best to remain dispassionate.
There's nothing dispassionate about the way he talks about the insect.
Tell me more about these traps.
Well, they may not look impressive, but Lena designed them quite cleverly, so I'm sure they'll do the trick.
Lena designed the traps?
Yes,
He says with some pride. How do the traps work?
simple. Attracted by the locusts, the phasmid crawls down the funnel and, having eaten its fill, can't get back out. At least, that's the intention. The net isn't a perfect solution, but we didn't want to use anything that might damage the specimen's delicate exoskeleton.
What are you using as bait?
Locusts. Nearly all known phasmids are herbivores, of course. But we've hypothesized that the Insulindian phasmid might occasionally prey on other insects.
Inside the traps, a number of locusts crawl and tumble over one another in a tiny, chittering swarm. A meat-eating stick insect? Does it pretend to be the reeds as part of its ambush behavior? This seems unlikely.
A carnivorous insect? Seems unlikely.
Thank you for your opinion. We have also included plant material in the traps to satiate your skepticism.
What will you do if these traps don't work?
They'll work, I assure you. The predatory hypothesis, using locusts as bait, accounts for the failure of previous efforts by other teams, which use plants. We have given this some thought.
The traps do seem to be deftly and thoughtfully constructed. It's clear the cryptozoologist's wife knows what she's doing.
Let me ask you about something else.
Yes. What?
Lena seems pretty eager for you to return.
And I'm eager to return to her, I assure you. But I can't leave before we finish with these traps. My wife understands that just as well as anyone.
He looks south, where Lena would be.
Come on, Morel. We've been soaking out here for days. It's time to go back.
And leave the traps? Absolutely not. I won't let Lena down.
Come on. She wants us back. I'm soaked up to my nuts over here. We'll both catch reed crabs if we don't dry out soon.
I didn't know the phasmid was so important to Lena.
Of course it's important to her. She's seen it. A verified sighting, on record. One of only 4 this century, and it's hers.
She's seen it.
Really? She signed the phasmid? She didn't tell me that.
Yes, that's how we first came to know one another, in fact. But that's her story to tell, not mine.
He coughs and then
Suffice to
continues.
say, it's long been our dream to find proof of Indian phasmid together. I can't abandon course now.
Maybe you should go back to the whirling, warm up, and come back to check the traps later.
No. The traps need to be monitored on a regular schedule. What would we do if the phasmid were to starve while we were sipping tea at the hostel?
I could go for some trap setting.
What if we check the traps for you?
I didn't expect you to take such an interest in our work here, officer.
He looks at you with obvious surprise. Cryptozoology and detective work are very similar.
Yes, indeed. Both require a great deal of research, attention to detail, and, above all, persistence.
Where are these
There are
traps?
4 in total. One is to the south, on this little peninsula, by the boathouses there. It's very near. Another we set in Land's End, to the northeast. It's behind a small sand dune there, on your way to the old radio tower, after the church. The third is set near the canal, where you crossed, by a concrete slab. A big thicket of reeds going up the slope, and among them...
He gestures to the trap in front of
You
him.
should check at least one of those before returning to this one. Since I just said it, this one's more of a technicality, but still, better safe and stupid than sorry.
That seems like a lot. Do we really have time for this extracurricular venture?
The pursuit of knowledge is its own justification.
Is it?
He doesn't look too convinced, but the small shrug indicates why not.
If you think it's important, you have been right before.
What do I do if there's a phasmid in one of these traps?
Bring it to me at once. Just make sure the trap is closed tight.
He's not comfortable with the possibility that you'll claim the find, but he's lying about this even to himself.
Was I encountered the phasmid in the wild?
That's highly unlikely, officer. But in the event you do, I'll spray you with a pheromone mixture I developed. It's made of musk and research chemicals. The pheromone should attract the insect to you, or at least prevent it from bolting at the sight of you. It's quite potent. Will last you about a week.
Lay it on me.
Wise choice.
He dabs you with an odd-smelling spray, then gives you a satisfied nod.
This is the smell of dying reeds, of longing crumbling into the water.
I hope you're not buying this. He dispenses it without letting you touch the canister, so it would be precious like holy water.
It is precious. A single dose cost me 50 real to develop. Not that I expect you to understand self-financing one's own research.
He looks at the lieutenant with disdain and puts the spray can back in his pocket.
Right. Which means you two can pack up and go back to the whirling.
Finally, someone's talking sense.
Thank you for your help. Gary and I will start breaking down camp. If you have any more questions, now's the time to ask. We'll be gone once you get to it.
If it's more cryptid-related business you want to discuss, you'll have time for that later too. But what if the information is vital? On the hunt. What about his eager to leave friend Gary there? Talk to him too, perhaps.
How did you become a
I've
cryptozoologist?
just always liked animals and puzzles. Searching for cryptids is a bit of both.
So you're living your childhood dream out here.
It's not child's play. Just because I have to traipse through the mud every so often.
His eyes narrow. Why not be a zoologist? Blue animals are puzzling too.
Really? I know you think one is a respectable profession, while the other is superstition. Everyone does.
I don't. It's a profession like any other.
Indeed. My methods do not differ from other scientists. I simply draw upon a wider variety of evidence. And I have more hope that something truly surprising might happen.
Your nerve endings tell you there is no such thing as a positive surprise.
Life surprises are mostly miserable.
Agreed. Yet there is always a chance, albeit a small one, of a truly good surprise. One simply needs to look at the history of science. Serendipities abound.
And has anything truly surprising ever happened to you?
No, as I said, I have yet to catch a cryptid. Although I have come close. Close enough to keep trying.
Interesting. Something for later, this close call.
What kind of evidence do you use?
Everything from forgotten regional lore to newspaper accounts, like the one that brought us here, to look for the phasmid. I keep a very open mind.
He's interested in things that people believe that scientists don't.
You don't think other scientists don't listen to ordinary people enough?
Most establishment scientists only care about reputation and remuneration, not real research, and certainly not the truth. They're a cowardly lot, and both the field and basement archives can be dangerous places.
So you've never discovered a cryptic?
No. Very few cryptids are ever discovered, and not for a lack of trying. To stay hidden is a cryptid's primary quality. It's even in the name. Cryptid.
So, how many cryptids have been
Of
found?
the list of cryptids kept by the Cryptozoological Society of Chemnee, which is 4,082 items long, about 2,000 have been confirmed as hoaxes. 2 are categorized as confirmed discoveries. The rest are in differing stages of discovery, refutation, and data collection.
Only 2 have been proven to be real.
Yes, the Chateau Quan forest pygmy, who turned out to be an extinct species of primate, and a cave salamander from Grad, who is, honestly, quite unremarkable. It's in a zoo somewhere. We cryptozoologists are brutally honest with ourselves, more so even than the public. With cryptids, most cryptids are hoaxes or they are never found. That does not mean we should stop searching.
Not approvingly. Then the intellect capacity will be deferred.
Indeed. If
Yes.
our expedition is successful, every paper in the world will report on it. From Revachol to Duchantu. It will be a zoological miracle.
The hair on your arms stand up. Electricity. Sounds like reeds hissing. He has clearly done his math on this. There is no surprising him or swaying his opinion.
Thank you for explaining that. Now, about something else.
Yes?
Let's talk about Pacific cryptic.
All right. What cryptids precisely? I usually discuss these things with specialists, so I don't know what.
We would have to discuss. He wants to say, but decides against it, since you've offered to help.
What cryptid did you almost catch? You said before you almost caught one.
A willow person. It's a long story. One non-specialist would find rather dull.
Willow people? Not at all.
What are willow people?
They're not people, really. Some argue they aren't really animals, as they seem to have evolved directly from trees. They're very, very thin, almost flat in fact, and can camouflage themselves easily, wrapping themselves around trees and blending in with the tree bark. In that way, they're not too dissimilar from the phasmid we're looking for here.
Wait, so I may have seen these willow people without knowing it?
You probably have.
How did you almost catch a willow person?
Gary and I painted an entire grove's worth of trees in slow-drying paint. It was a bright lavender colour. I was hoping one of the willow people would get paint on it and not be able to camouflage itself. After waiting in hiding for hours, I saw a figure slip from one of the trees, a lavender shadow, dashing through the grove.
And then?
I chased it with a net. Not very elegant. You can't be elegant in the field. And, well, it was faster than me.
A lavender shadow.
These smokes.
I know you think we were snacking on funny mushrooms. It's easier to mock someone than to admit that the world might be more interesting than you've imagined. Furthermore, I'm not saying it was a confirmed sighting. I'm painfully aware of what goes into verifying such things. There is a serious possibility that I saw a squirrel or a trick of the light. I am my own harshest critic.
And Lena's sighting of the plasmid, is that?
Confirmed. It's 100% verified and meets all the standards of an authentic cryptid sighting.
Just tell me about a cool cryptic, any cryptic.
No offence, officer, but I'm not much of a pedagogue. I don't know what I would have done if Lena hadn't persuaded me to go back to field research. You should ask her if you want interesting stories. Me? I'm not a people person, unless you haven't noticed. And I don't make a good lecturer. My strength lies in field work and persistence.
Enough tales then, let's change
By
the subject.
all means.
Alright, get going. Okay, I'm going to finish this recording here. Thank you very much for watching. I'll catch you guys again later. Bye.